Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Sarah and I'll be guiding you through our practice today. Together we'll work on rebalancing both body and mind by slowly and mindfully strengthening our muscles and warming our joints. This class will help us to build physical endurance while simultaneously strengthening our mental focus. We're starting today sitting on our mat in a comfortable seat, maybe with the crossing at the ankles, and sitting up nice and tall as we lengthen through the spine. We're going to rest our hands on our knees and gently allow the shoulder blades to roll and fall and melt down your back as you begin to close your eyes. We're going to take a few breaths just to find our focus. Just try to quiet the mind. As we bring ourselves onto our mat, we bring ourselves into our class today. I'm going to take a few moments just to focus on what's going on in our body and our mind. Focus on the breath. It's going to connect with the body. And begin by noticing the breath. Notice the pace. Noticing the quality of air, and the depth of each breath. Noticing how the body feels, and noticing how the mind feels. Any thoughts running through it? Any worries you might be holding on to? Just let go. I'm just going to spend our time on our mat, trying to focus as much as we can on our poses, on our breathing, on the effect that each movement has on the body. And gently beginning to bring yourself back into the room, blinking the eyes open. And we're going to begin just by drawing little circles with the wrists, bringing some movements into the wrists. I'm going to spend a bit of time on them today, so we just want to make sure they're nice and loose. Maybe rolling them to one side or the other, or opening and closing the fingers, shaking them out. And that's for a brief moment. And inhale as we begin to reach the arms up and overhead, stretching through the sides of the body, palms facing each other. So you want your knees hanging heavy. Don't worry too much if your knees are quite high up. That's just that your hips haven't quite opened. It's completely normal. It's a very common area to be tight. So just allowing the knees to drop as heavy as they can as you lengthen through the sides of the body. Reaching the hands up, finding length. Deep breath. And as you exhale, flip the palms so they face forward and begin to draw down the arms, bending at the elbows, bringing the arms into cactus. So you're opening up a nice space along the chest. Slight back bend as you begin to look up towards the sky. Inhale, and as you exhale, begin to round forward, closing the arms together, dropping the gaze down towards the mat. Inhale, opening up back into cactus, puffing the chest open. Inhale at the top. Exhale, soften and close, draw the arms closed. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, rounding, closing through the arms, trying to see if you can get them to touch. Inhale, opening, taking the movement nice and slowly, so we're not rushing through our poses today. Closing on the exhale around the spine, drop the gaze. Inhale, opening up. Last one as you exhale, soften and release. And release the arms down. We're going to make our way through to hands and knees over onto tabletop. Let's take a moment just to check your alignment. We want to make sure that our wrists are in line under our shoulders and our knees are in line under our hips. We'll take a few cat-cows to warm up the spine before we make our way through to any poses. Inhale as you drop the belly and loop the shoulder blades back, looking forward into our cow pose. There's a nice arch in the spine, and we're opening through the chest. Exhale, begin to drop the gaze, looking towards the knees, peeling the spine up towards the sky as you peel your way into our cat pose. Inhale, coming back through to cow. Drop the belly, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Exhale, rounding through to cat. Inhale, through to cow. And coming back to center, lovely. So take a moment, making sure that you've got a nice stable base from here. We're going to begin to pick up the right leg and send it out towards the back of the room. So pointing the toes out towards the back of the wall. Making sure you have a nice stable position. Now we want to make sure that we're not collapsing into our lower back. So we're very, very slightly engaging the core by slightly tucking the tailbone under. We're going to begin with some pulses with the right leg, but we don't want to kick the leg up too high because that's just crunching into the lower back. We want to work deep into the glutes by engaging through the core, keeping that nice stable position. As you inhale, gently begin to pulse, nice and slowly. We're going to pulse for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. Holding here. We're going to bend at the knee and take 10 pulses with the toes pointing towards the sky. Going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. You can release the knee back down and flow through some cat-cows just to shake it off. We should already begin to feel the body begin to warm up. As you work into strengthening through our glutes and into our core. We'll take it to the opposite side. So begin to extend the left leg long away from you. You want your gaze looking down towards the mat and slightly forward. So we're not dropping the head and we're not extending it too far forward. Find your stability, find your balance, your strength. And we'll go for 10 on the left side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Brilliant. Bend the knee. Take it nice and slow. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely. Release the knee back down onto the mat. We're going to make our way from here into a forearm plank. So we're going to come down onto our elbows. Now, just for a forearm plank, we want to make sure that we have our arms in a nice position so we're not too close together or too far out. So our good guide is if you take hold of opposite elbow. That's usually about shoulder width distance apart. It's usually where you want to be. Now, depending on the make of your body, on the build, you might need to open up the arms a little bit wider. But just come to where it feels comfortable for you. Begin to walk the legs back. You can interlace the fingers out in front of you as you make your way into a forearm plank. Now, make sure here that we're tucking our tailbone under again. We're not collapsing into the lower back. Keeping a nice, strong plank. Now, either stay here if this feels like enough for you, or if you want to take it deeper and really begin to work into the strength, strengthening into the core. Begin to rock back and forward, gently pressing the weight of the body towards the heels. You'll feel this straight away working into the lower belly, into the abdominals. Rocking back and forth. Stay with your breath. Remember to breathe. Go for 3 more breaths. And release the knees down onto the mat. Untuck the toes, drop the belly down. Opening into sphinx, plant the hands down onto the mat. Lengthen and lift through the chest. Just as we take a moment, taking a break off the lower back, lifting and opening up through the front of the body. And find your breath. Feel the body. Notice the heat. Notice that strength, that support that we're making. And then gently planting one hand on top of the other. Extend the elbows wide and drop the forehead down onto the hands, shaking the hips left and right, releasing out. Brilliant, and we're going to release. Bring your hands either sides of your shoulders and gently press yourself up. We're going to come up into our downward facing dog. Plant both hands out slightly in front of you with your index fingers pointing towards the corners of the mat. Tuck your toes under and hover the knees off your mat, and then send your hips towards the back of the room. Nice, strong downward facing dog, keeping the knees as deeply bent as you need to. And maybe begin to gently drop the weight into one heel at a time. Just waking up, warming up the backs of the legs. We're going to float our body from down dog into high plank. So come back to downward facing dog. Inhale. And exhale, begin to float the body forward, coming through into high plank. So your shoulders are in line over your wrists. You're pressing through the heels. Nice, strong plank. Hold here. Find your breath. Don't forget to breathe. Maybe, if you want to take it deeper, you can begin to lift the right leg away from the mat. Remembering to breathe, grounding through both hands evenly. Drop the right foot back down. Make your way by lifting the left leg away. And release, lovely. Float it back to downward facing dog. And drop down onto your knees. Good job. We're going to swing the legs around and make our way into boat pose. So sitting up, nice and tall, finding some length through the spine. Walk the feet in towards you. A few variations once again for this pose, so you can just stay here with your feet planted on the mat or your heels with your toes peeling up towards you as you lengthen through the spine. Or to take it to the next level, you can begin to lift both legs away from the mat, and again, hands in prayer. Doesn't matter which variation you're taking today, just make sure the hands are nice in prayer. We're lengthening up and out through the spine, finding a nice height through the upper body. Inhale, and as we exhale, we're going to point and twist our hands to the right. Inhale, back through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale, center, lovely. We'll take it again to the right. And center. Left. Center, one more either side. Right. Center. And left. Center. Drop the feet. Inhale, lift the spine. Exhale, float the arms over the legs. Drop the gaze. Just allow the body to melt and hang heavy. Find your breath. Find that nice, quiet stability. Good job. From here, make your way down onto your back. Coming down, lying flat on your back, hugging both knees in towards the belly, just rocking side to side. Just making sure that we're not holding any tension in the lower back, or into the belly, or into the glutes. Plant both feet down onto the mat. Gonna make our way into bridge pose from here. So walk your feet slightly in, more closer to the body. So you can almost graze your heels with your fingertips. Feet are hip-width distance apart. We want to try and keep our lower back as best as we can flat with the mat. Inhale, tilt the pelvis back and begin to lift the hips away from the mat. Sending the hips high towards the sky and shooting the weight of the body, shooting that energy down through the knees. Grounding into both feet evenly, squeezing, engaging through the glutes. Firing up our glutes, engaging through the core. Inhale and exhale, gently release. From here, we're going to come into one leg bridge pose. So you can either extend the right leg away from you, keeping your knees level, or if you feel you can take a little bit deeper, you can extend the right leg up, pointing towards the sky. We're going to begin to lift up into bridge pose with our leg where it is. So find where feels best for you today. You could try it either and see what works. We're going to move up and down through bridge, so find your stance. Inhale, begin to lift the hips away from the mat, engaging through the glutes. Exhale, lower and release. Once again, inhale, lift. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, soften and release. And again, inhale, lift the hips nice and high. Exhale, soften, release. Inhale, last one, lift. Hold here at the top. Holding for another breath. And one more. Brilliant, good job. You can drop the leg and release the hips back down. You can drop the knees now side to side. Noticing how the right side of the bum feels from the left. Just noticing that difference, noticing the change as we move and we strengthen through the body. Now we'll move to the next side. Picking up the leg, sending it to where we want it to go. Inhale. Exhale, lifting the hips away from the mat. Keeping the knees side by side. And gently release. Once again, picking up the hips. Squeezing into the glutes. And release back down. And again, picking up the hips. And sending down. Really grounding through the right foot as you pick up the hips. Keeping the hips nice and level. Back down, last one, we'll hold at the top. Inhale, exhale, lift. Grounding to the foot. Squeezing into the glutes, send the hips a little bit higher. And release. Back down, good job. Drop the knees side to side. Letting go, feeling that through the glutes. Coming back through to center as we hug our knees in towards the belly. Allow them to drop open a little bit as you rock side to side. Great, and we're going to take a twist either side from here. So plant both feet down onto the mat. Just going to drop the knees over towards the right. You can bring the arms back into cactus. And you can bring the right foot maybe to take a little bit deeper. To rest on top of the left knee. Just to deepen that twist. Bring the gaze to look towards the left. And just allow the body to soften. It's really good after we've really worked deep into the glutes and into the core to stretch it out, to allow the muscles to soften and release, just to calm everything down. Gently releasing the legs, bring the knees back through to center and just dropping them this time towards the left, maybe hooking the left leg on top of the right knee and look towards the right. You can close the eyes or bring a soft gaze as you melt and relax the muscles. Just letting go, releasing any tension. And gently unwind the legs, bring the knees back to the center and hug the knees in towards the belly. We're just going to come into one final pose into happy baby as you take hold of the outer edges of the feet and you begin to bend into the knees so the soles of the feet face and point towards the sky. So you're drawing the knees down towards you and your soles of your feet are pressing up towards the sky. Maybe rocking side to side here, massaging out the spine and the lower back and the hips. Then release the grip, hug the knees back in towards the body. We're going to make our way into Savasana, our final resting pose from here. If you have enough time, you can stay in this pose as long as you can. Extend the legs nice and wide on the mat. Take up as much space as you need. Palms face the sky, shoulder blades are nestled under the body. And begin to soften down from the head, the top of the head, down towards the toes. Melting, releasing tension. Just allowing the body to become soft and become heavy. Notice how the body feels now from the start of the class. As we've built that strength, it supports our movement, our mobility. It allows us to go deeper into our poses and move through our day with a little bit more comfort, a little bit more ease. Thank you very much for joining me for our class today. I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Namaste.